Hello. I am reminded of a famous encounter, and I did try looking it up and couldn't find it, but there are two Enlightenment public intellectuals, although that wasn't a name for them then, and one of them was an atheist, and one said to the other, the one who was a believer said, he saw three men in a carriage driving past, and he said, now there's a good example of the Trinity. And the atheist said, no, that's not a good example of the Trinity. A good example would be not three men in one carriage, but one man in three carriages. Okay, well, it's not recorded what the first one responded to that. And if you want to know who said that, I don't know. You'll have to find that for yourself. And I'd be very obliged if somebody would put that in one of the comments. Anyway, we have a modern version of this, but from people who profess to be believers. God's pronouns are they, them. With respect, they are not they. Rather, the pronouns are not they, them. And this is coming from the First Congregational Church of Pasadena, the United Church of Christ. That's two churches in one, I suppose. There's an online gathering every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. if you wanted to drop in on them. And the reverends are Marlene and Jake Pomeroy. And just in case you didn't get the rainbow symbolism up here, then there's this little circle down here with the rainbow in it. Now, when I saw that, I was, of course, sort of fairly amused and shocked in equal measure. And then I thought, well, yeah, maybe they're using the Trinity as a they-them idea. And maybe, perhaps, somewhere there's some validity to that. So I then thought, well, maybe I should look at the Bible, because that's probably the text you should be looking at. And I started with Genesis, and the first words in Genesis are, of course, well, not the first words, but among the first words, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so they may rule over the fish and the sea and all the rest of it. So obviously that is what the poster is referring to. And it's completely wrong, of course, because kings and rulers have always referred to themselves in the plural, especially when they're making official announcements. But even when they're not, there's a famous saying ascribed to Queen Victoria, for instance, we are not amused. In which she obviously wasn't amused, but she was definitely referring to herself. And there's another nice one from Queen Elizabeth I, who seems to be a woman who had a good sense of humour, despite the rocky start she had in life. And that was, apparently there was some courtier who was so overcome with emotion when he met the Queen on one occasion that he broke wind rather noisily. And absolutely mortified by, the faux pas, he left court and didn't return for several years. And when he did come back, and he was taken to greet the Queen, she looked at him and said something like, well, it's nice to see you again, Lord X. We have quite forgot the fart. Okay, right. Well, so if the Queen can do it, then so can God. And nobody ever would have thought that Queen Elizabeth I had any illusions about her singularity in more ways than one. So definitely that us there is the royal we. And then I looked, does anybody ever refer to God in the plural? There is a word, Elohim, and that is a plural word. But when people are talking to him, it's using the singular form. I mean, in Hebrew. Fortunately, in Hebrew, or unfortunately, depending on what sort of a slant you want to put on this, there is a singular masculine you and a plural masculine you. And the singular masculine you is the only one you use to refer to God, whoever you are in the Bible. And God said to Moses, I am who I am, not we are who we are. So God seems to agree with this. And then going further into the New Testament, we get Jesus instructing the apostles to say, Our Father, singular and masculine, by the way, who art in heaven. And that's singular again. If it were plural, it would be who are in heaven. So again, it's the biblical references have God as singular the whole way through the Hebrew Bible to the New Testament, the Christian Bible. It's always a singular God. And whatever you start talking about the Trinity, it's always supposed to be singular. Whatever problems you might have coming to grasp with that 3-in-1 idea, which in original Christianity, by the way, they were always three separate things with God and two lower servants of God. I think that's the Arian heresy, isn't it? Okay, so God is definitely not, the pronouns are definitely not they and them. This is something this church is making up for a specific audience, obviously. You know, it's covered in rainbows. And it's sort of interesting that there's a man and a woman who apparently are married here. They're rather letting the side down, aren't they? Okay, well, that's another great idea out of California. Please like this video and share it, especially if you have friends in Pasadena. That might be lots of fun, mightn't it? And subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and if you are, check that your subscription is still active. You can support me financially, buy me a coffee, all the links are below, and I let you know when I've uploaded a new video on Twitter, Gab and Parler, just in case the other platforms don't happen to tell you. YouTube is apparently quite bad with that sort of thing. Okay, well, thanks for listening, and till next time. Oh, and God bless you all. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.